Hello everyone, and welcome to another video on my channel. I have done this type of video before where I've read out loud my poetry. That was kind of poetry I've written really recently, or at least recently when I did that video. The poetry I'm going to be reading today is poetry I wrote a year ago for my first poetry class that I took in university. I kind of want to read it because this semester I'm taking advanced poetry. And so I'm writing a lot of new poems and stuff like that for this class. And I'm also using the same notebook, so I've been kind of flipping through my poems. And I thought it'd be fun to share some of those poems with you. Now, I am going to do this video differently than what I did the first one, because I realized the first one has lots of faults, and I want to prove that I realized that, and that I'm growing from it. And so there will be gaps, breaths of air in between the poems, so you know when I've switched. And I'm also going to be typing out the poems for you so that way you can read along with me as I read them out loud. Alright, without further ado, let's read some year-old poetry that I wrote. It is a strange feeling, seeing so much light, but being plunged in darkness. What some see as shade, I see as a barrier, separation of light from light. So it is under the bridge. The dirt shakes due to the beings above, but the stone walls are steady, as is their paved floor or my stone roof. It is cold being here, though one step out from under would warm my skin again. There is no life, no moss clinging to the half moon, only muddy water conjugating in the ground's indents, only fast food containers and plastic bags, also hiding from the light. Among the trash I sit, the water I add my sweat. I wait for the darkness to spread, for the bridge to no longer be a wall, but instead for it to become one with the outside. Only then do I come out. Justice is a sand dune, covering the sun, only to crash down on those below it. It is ever shifting, dragging us into itself, where we dig tunnels that can collapse at any moment. Justice is a sand dune that burns our skin and parches our throat with empty desires. It irritates our eyes and blisters our feet as we try to climb to the top of the ever-growing tower. Justice is a sand dune, empty and formless. We are powerless against it, but the light breeze is all it takes to destroy it. Justice is a sand dune. Get lost in its wasteland. So much depends upon the sun's shadow chasing the moon's reflection. It is time's race, it is light's dance, the stars its audience, the people its worshippers. How could God have created something so perfect as love, as hate? How could He, who understands everything, get me, know me? We say it's impossible, that God doesn't care, that He could only create one or the other, not both, not me, that He doesn't have a plan for me, this creator of the universe, of time, of life. We claim He never bothers with us, when we refuse to acknowledge His existence, instead choosing to trust a meaningless life of death, of nothingness. Why is it so hard to believe that the same thing created both love and hate, and that this thing both loves and hates me? Why not? Dream 1. I blocked your path, and we collided. I fell back towards death, but your hand caught me. Your nails cut my wrist as you pulled me to safety. I wouldn't let go. I pulled you away from the edge. Dream 2. You were given a task you didn't want to do, but I promised to show you my secret place if you obeyed. The trees parted at my presence, and I led you to a pond, surrounded by willows, fragranced by lilies. You left to complete the task. Dream 3. I was the light, and you chased me. I turned off my light, surrounded myself in shadow, and dived into the dark. Yet you followed, called out for help. So I turned back on my light, found your hand in the darkness, and watched my light spread into you. I'm afraid of death showing up on my doorstep. No, I'm afraid for the person he holds in his grasp, that friend who is dearer to me than any family member, the one I would sacrifice everything for just to see smile, Squirming, misty fingernails wrapped around arms so tight blood coats them, creating a contrast of red on black. I'm afraid of Death's smile as he holds my friend just out of reach, his laugh as my cries mingle with my friend's screams of pain. Then they are both gone, except for the sense of burning flesh and the blood mixing with the lighter shade of red of my front door. Both a reminder that my sacrifices can never be enough to stop death. I'm afraid of Death showing up on my doorstep, and I'm afraid that he will bring those I love with him. I'm frustrated, so frustrated with love, so much so I now cry all the time. I cry when she brings other hearts home, just to take pieces of them and kick the rest out. I cry when she refuses to give the pieces back, claiming them as gifts for ourselves, as pieces of armor, as a shield. I'm annoyed, so annoyed with love, how she leaves for weeks, only to come back with pieces missing, given to strangers who we know nothing about. I tell her to stop, but she just smiles and laughs. Giving bits of herself gives other joys, and she knows she will heal. She always does. I don't expect to know who you are. I don't expect you to know who I am. I just want you to become a part of me. I just want myself to become a part of you. I know parts of myself will remain hidden. I know parts of you will never be revealed. I will be loved for you because of this. I will be loved by you because of it. Is it wrong that I wanted to control people? Not to say I wanted to hurt them, but I longed to understand how they worked. Would it scare you to know I've done it, that I'm actually quite good at it, that I could do it to you if I so wished? I did it first to my brother. I could make him so angry he'd kill, and I alone could make him laugh. The more I know you, the easier it becomes, till you would die for me if I asked, till you regret the power I have over you. I must inform you I'm unable to stop, that I do it without meaning to, and that I've hurt people with it. I understand if you hate me now. After all, I hate myself because of it. Still, I can't help but be fascinated by how easily I can take control of a heart, and how quickly that control turns to love. I see the stars in your eyes, my dear. I see the moon in your smile. I see the sun in your hair, my dear, and the clouds in the way you move. I hear the earth in your laugh, and sense the planets in your presence. I feel the universe in your heart, and your soul goes beyond even that. So I ask you, how can I help but get lost in everything you are, and everything you are to me? What play shall I perform today? The quiet listener for my mother, the sweet pet for my father, or the plaything for my brother? Maybe I'll be the joker for this friend, or the encourager for another. I'll take on the role of mother for him, I'll become a sister for her. As for the real self, I'll keep that confined to my poems and stories. I'll let it out when I throw knives and craft one thing into something else. But there's no time for crafting right now, and the rain means knives must remain unused. So instead, I must choose whom I'll perform for, and what that performance will be. They say 20 years isn't that long to have lived, but that's a fourth of our life used up. They say I have plenty of time to change the world, but this comes from the people wasting their own lives away. They say my dreams are impossible, but then again, they've never tried. They say love isn't that powerful, but those people love no one but themselves. They say stories and poems have no value, but books have started wars and poems ended them. They say I'll amount to nothing, but only because they'll fear I'll outshine them. They say I'm only 20, but I say I'm so much more. The world is going still, holding its breath, waiting to see what will happen next. The world is growing cold, putting everything on hold, longing to know if anything can be as before. The world is getting lost, drowning in its death, unsure if there will ever be an after. Next, time, before, change, after, fear, next, before, after, time, change, fear, still, cold, lost, the world.